What's going on, guys? Flynn1 back with another video, and today I'm doing something that I kind of used to do way back in the day, back on my old channel, and I kind of thought it would be a really cool thing to do again. As some of you may know, if you are from my old channel or if you've known me for a while, I'm a collector. I love to collect movies, video games, comics, now tech and other stuff. So I actually got a pretty recent stack over the last month, and it's a pretty decent set here. So I wanted to go through it with you guys, kind of just to share some of the cool things with it, and maybe make some recommendations out of the stack as well for you guys to pick up for yourself. But we got a few games here, and it's mainly DVDs, movies, that kind of thing. So sit back, relax, and hope you enjoy. All right, let's start off with a few of the games here. We got a few Xbox games, a couple Xbox 360 games, and an Xbox One game. We have, starting off, we have Dragon Age Origins. No, I do not have Awakening because I don't know if I want to go through it on Xbox. I do have this game on PC already, but I first played it on Xbox 360 and I found it for very cheap. It wasn't that bad, so I decided to pick it up because I wanted to do a playthrough to get ready for the new Dragon Age game coming up. Hopefully it's going to be good. I'm not exactly sure. We'll talk about that more later, but this is just the first game. And then we picked up, of course, I don't have the cover of it because GameStop doesn't know how to stop taking games without having cover art. But we have Dragon Age 2. See, Dragon Age 2. It is the actual game, but nothing special about it. Nothing really too crazy. If you guys know where I can find artwork for these covers, or if you guys know where I can find cover art, please let me know in the description below. I would love to get cover art for these bad boys. And then, of course, we had to get Dragon Age Inquisition. We have a local game exchange around here that is probably one of the most well-stocked game exchanges I have ever come across in my entire life. And they have a slew of games, and they had this price for only like $8. So I had to pick it up, mainly because I never got to play through it fully when I first got it. So very happy that I put this in my collection. Very happy that I will get to check it out eventually. But as you guys know, I'm back on PC, so mainly it's for the collection for right now. But I will play it soon. Okay, so next thing we're going to work on, I have a big stack of movies here, movies and shows. And I have some books over here that I would like to get through. But let's just start off, and I'm basically going to just kind of briefly talk about why I picked up the movie, and if I've seen it already, give you a little backstory on why I thought it was good or if it was bad, because everyone can appreciate a really good bad movie. So here we go. With the book, or with the movie adaptation of Ready Player One on the rise, Walmart has this huge section of a bunch of the pop culture movies and shows that were mentioned in the book, and are hopefully going to be mentioned in the movies. So there's a huge sale on all these movies. So I had to pick some of these up because I haven't been able to find them ever. So, because they're harder to find in the wild or for a good price. So first one is Sneakers. I have not actually seen this movie, but I am very excited about it. A buddy of mine who ran a CD Tray Post, which is kind of a Midwest version of Game Exchange or like a GameStop, but they do movies and retro stuff and all the way up to current gaming and everything like that, but CDs as well. But now they're called Trade Post. But he had told me about this movie because I was a huge fan of the movie Hackers, and he said that if I was a fan of the director of Field of Dreams and if I was a fan of Hackers, that I would love the cinematography of this movie, and then I would love the storyline. And of course, you can't beat a Dan Aykroyd movie. I mean, simple enough. So, very excited to get to watch this one. As you can tell, I haven't opened any of these yet. I just got them. So, but yeah, Sneakers. Coming up next, there's a lot of controversy on this one. I have not seen this one yet either, but it has, I'm not going to do any spoilers, so if you haven't read Ready Player One yet, go read it. This actually has this movie has a key role in the movie, this movie has a key role in the book and probably the movie, but that is Tom Cruise's Legend. And it's from Ridley Scott. I have not seen this yet, but I've always been trying to pick it up, but I could never find it in good condition, and it just makes me very curious about what this is truly going to be, but yeah, it's from Ridley Scott, and if you're not familiar with Ridley Scott, he's the one that did like movies like Gladiator and Blade Runner, and of course we all know who Tom Cruise is, so this is gonna be very interesting to watch this one. I'm very excited that I was able to find this. Okay, the next one is going to be self-explanatory. This one falls along the lines of course the Ready Player One mythos here, and this one really needs no explaining. Battlestar Galactica, the movie. This is the movie that actually started the show. This is what started the launch of the show series and everything. This is where it all began. So I have to have it for the collection. Have to go with the widescreen. Can't miss anything. But not a bad pickup. All right, so this next one is going to be very interesting. I'm just actually getting into the actual game of it, and yes, I know I'm going to be getting a lot of ridicule. No, I have not played Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm in the process of learning. I've played the electronic games, I've played like the card games, I've played a lot of stuff, but I've never played the pen and paper version of it. And of course, now that I'm getting into it and it's being in Ready Player One, you gotta get the double pack of the movies. The first one is just hilarious because it's got one of the Wayans brothers. I think it's got Marlon Wayans in it. Super funny, and I can't remember what his name was. Jeremy Irons is in the first one. Yeah, it's Marlon Wayans and Thora Birch. Yeah, a lot of really funny ones. I have not seen Wrath of the Dragon God. I do own this in a single pack, but I lost this one because I let a buddy borrow it, and I don't know where it went. So had to get a double pack, and of course, just a Dungeons and Dragons, and it looks cool. That's gonna look awesome on my shelf. So very excited to get that. That was pretty cheap, not too shabby. Again, following on the Ready Player One line, we have Star Trek: The Motion Picture. This will be more significant here in a minute, but I wanted to pick this up because I do not own this, and I want to get all of these Star Trek films, DVDs of all the Star Trek films. So I think Wrath of Khan, and there's one other that I'm missing, but there's, of course, that one, Star Trek. Self-explanatory movie adaptation. This one is where my fiance came in clutch. If you guys know, my name's Flynn One. If you guys don't know what movie that came from, you're about to find out. She got this for me as a gift for Valentine's/anniversary, and I can't stop smiling. She actually got me something. This is something I've been wanting for a long time. I've just never gotten around to getting it. That is the 2-pack set of Tron. Yes, if you're familiar with the Tron series, you know Alan One is Alan, which is Kevin Flynn's partner at Incom. His partner's username is Alan One, and it's never said, but Kevin Flynn's username is probably Kevin or Flynn One. So that's where my name came from. But these are two of my favorite movies of all time. And I fell in love with it in the 80s, fell in love with the second one. Really mad that they're not doing a third, but I'm at least very happy that I got it on Blu-ray. I don't really have an opinion on the 3D Blu-ray, but this is still going to have at least the bonus features, and it has both of them set in just one pack where I can have it. And of course, again, looks super cool on the sides. I'm very excited to have this in my collection. Panda, if you're watching this, thank you so much. I love it. I'm very excited to have this in my collection. Because being my favorite movie, and I don't own a copy of it. Well, I do now. All right, these next few movies are really cool, and we all probably know them. Of course, we have The Neverending Story. I picked this one up because Classic 80s Rewind. Yes, I picked it up because it had a really cool cover. Nothing too special underneath it. It's just a movie, but they're re-releasing a lot of the 80s movies, and of course, The Neverending Story is a fantastic, fantastic movie from my childhood, and I just, of course, had to pick it up. It's a tale as old as time, and it's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go pick it up. It's worth it. And then, of course, there's 2 or 3 sequels afterwards. I do not remember that part, so don't kill me in the comments, please. The next one is, actually, this one Panda picked out, and I am so happy because we are very big on psychological thrillers and stuff like that. She's actually a psych nurse, so these movies are right up her alley. We, of course, had to get... Oh, it's so good. And it's a collector's edition. Is Silence of the Lambs. And of course, if you guys don't know this is the film with Anthony Hopkins talking about Hannibal Lecter. This is the very first movie of the Hannibal series. And this actually is the collector's edition. It came on sale. What's really cool about this is it's got 2 discs with all the bonus features. Very awesome, but here's what it comes with. Check these out. I love little things like this. This is Dr. Hannibal Lecter requests the pleasure of your company for dinner. And each one of these is a separate recipe card. So it gives you a slew of recipes that are in the movie. You have like fava beans and risotto, deviled lamb's tongue, foie gras and fava bean salad, chicken liver and fava bean crostini, and roasted saddle of lamb. I mean, this little stuff like this that makes collecting worth it, because it's these little things you can't replace. And it's just a really cool addition to just getting a basic movie in a case. Because most of them don't even give the little art pamphlet books anymore. Or they don't even have chapter lists or anything like that. It's just really hard to kind of find that thing. So really appreciate this. MGN did a really good job with packaging this one. I'm very happy about it. And along the other lines, this is actually a very fantastic movie. This is a movie I watched when I was in school. If you guys don't know, I actually was a cello player and a double bass player, which is the upright bass, in my high school orchestra. And this was one of the movies that really motivated me to start writing my own music. And that was Amadeus. Amadeus is a movie about, as you guessed it, Mozart. So many awards this movie has won. It is so cleverly written. It is fantastic. It was made in the 1980s, and it has some of the best script writing I've seen, along with a very, very nice soundtrack. I can't recommend this enough. If you guys are familiar, if you guys are fans of kind of more articulate script writing, I would say this one is a very good one to watch, especially if you're a fan of Mozart, and if you're a fan of just trying to, or if you're a fan of kind of Victorian style movies in the first place. This one is fantastic. Highly recommend this one. Okay, now these next 2 movies were kind of I'm a little embarrassed to kind of say what these are, because I don't know anything about them. I saw them at the dollar store, and I recognize the actors, and I like the actors, so I haven't seen much on them. This one is Filth. Of course, as you guys can tell, I'm not sure the name of the actor. It's James McAvoy. Saw him on the cover. I was like, let's see what he can do. Let's see what Professor Xavier can do when he's smoking a cigarette with a badge. That's pretty much the origin of that one. If you guys know about this movie, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious about it, and it looks to be decent, like a detective film. I don't know. And then of course I had to get one. I saw Simon Pegg on the cover, and I love Shaun of the Dead. I love most all the stuff he does, and so I found Hector in the Search for Happiness. Now, if this is a bigger movie than I think it is, please let me know, because I just picked it up because it had Simon Pegg on it, and he looks like the main character. But I've never heard of this movie. I know of which was it? Like, I've seen Hot Fuzz, I've seen Shaun of the Dead. I loved his cameo in, I loved him in Star Trek. I saw his cameo in one of the George Romero films. And this was just a really cool find. So I'm hoping that this turns out to be good. Let me know if you guys have seen this in the comments. All right, so the next one we got lined up is Vin Diesel in The Last Witch Hunter. I actually found out about this movie through Geek and Sundry when Vin Diesel was playing Dungeons and Dragons with them, and they were kind of showcasing this movie. This actually seems like a very, very interesting movie. I have not seen it yet, so I'm very excited to check it out. But it seems like one of his different roles outside like the Fast and Furious and Triple X. It seems to be more along the lines of like his Pitch Black role where he was Richard B. Riddick. Basically, the story is he is an immortal witch hunter, basically trying to, smite down the evil magic users. So it seems like a really awesome role to see him in, and just something a little more unique that we don't really get to see Vin Diesel in very often. So I'm excited to pick this up, and I'll let you guys know how it is after I read it. Ooh, my pizza's here. All right, now the next movie I picked up, Heavy Metal. If you guys are not familiar with this one, then you're really young. So basically, this is a movie for younger teenagers, adults, very adult themed, from the 80s. It actually was a comic book series as well, and I think the comic book series is still going, but I'm not 100% sure. But this is the very first movie out of 3, I do believe. Basically, it has metal dungeon, or if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, if you're a fan of metal, if you're a fan of sex and crime and rock and roll, this was the movie for you. It's very, I don't know how to describe it without ruining some of the plot line, but just go watch it. It's heavy metal. Just don't let your parents catch you. Okay, so we're going from one spectrum to the other. The next movie I picked up was Power Rangers. Of course, I was a fan of Power Rangers from being a little kid, and it was the show I would come home and watch every single day since Mighty Morphin, all the way up through, I think, Lost Galaxy is when I finally stopped watching, and then I ended up starting watching again for Dino Thunder because Jason David Frank came back. I had picked this one up because I didn't see it in theaters because it's very, I thought it would have been very weird if I didn't have a kid with me, if I went to the theater by myself to go watch a Power Rangers movie. Or is that just me? I think it's the beard. I don't know. Maybe the gray hair. Just might be a little weird for me to go into a kids movie by myself watching this. But of course I have to watch it for nostalgia reasons. Apparently there's a lot of Easter eggs in it. There are a lot of cameos, and I'm very excited to kind of see what they did with it. I've heard a lot of stuff about it, but luckily I've been able to avoid most of it, and I've heard some speculation, but it hasn't been ruined for me yet. So very excited to get to check this out at some point. All right, we're about to wrap up the media section, or in terms of the movies and stuff. But the next set I got was the Star Trek, the new Star Trek triple feature. This is 3 movie collection. It has the it has Star Trek, Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. These are 3 of the newer versions, or this is basically what Star Trek is now. This is what they rebooted. They recently. This is the 3 movie set of the rebooted franchise. I actually really like the direction they're going. I was a huge fan of Star Trek and Into Darkness. I have not seen Beyond yet, but I'm very excited to, and it was kind of a no-brainer considering this was the same price as getting just Star Trek Beyond by itself. So why would I have spent the same amount to get one movie when I could buy the other 2 that I don't have either? I don't know, but very excited to watch these. If you guys haven't seen the first 2, definitely go check them out. I'm excited to see the 3rd one, and it's actually cool because they have all three discs in it, so I'm okay with that. Now the next one, or the last movies or DVD set I have, I fangirled out so hard when I saw this, and I'm very excited to have it. It is a remastered series, and I'm just really excited to have it. It is Gen 1, it's Gen 1 Star Trek, the original series, the complete series. This is for the anniversary of Star Trek. I can't, which anniversary is it? Shit. I think the 40th, 30th. What year did you come out, bitch? This is the anniversary edition of the very first series of Star Trek with Captain Kirk and Spock. One of my favorite shows to watch when I was a kid growing up, and this is a very beefy set here. Goes all the way through, but it's the Star Trek original series. Very cool case. Actually comes in a hard case, not one of those pull, sleeve cases. It's kind of like a little holographic front where you got the USS Enterprise and their emblem, and it's just, I'm very excited to have this. It's completely remastered. I know I can go watch it on Netflix, but what if the internet goes out and I want to watch my Star Trek? It makes more sense. I just wanted this on my shelf. It is really cool. It's really thick. It's a nice beefy. It'll look really good next to my Transformers Gen 1 complete series. Very excited about that. It was only $40. Okay, and last but not least, for the pickups videos, we are going to go into some books. I've recently started getting more into reading and writing and just kind of branch off my creativity. So including that, of course, my book library is going to increase. So, and these aren't just mangas and everything like that. Manga. Sorry. But this isn't just a mangas and other stuff like that. This is actual literature, actual reading material, which a lot of people out there, if you guys are from my high school, you probably know that I used to not read at all outside of a comic book. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into this. A lot of these books were recommendations, so I picked them up based on that. So I got a few recommendations. I'll tell you who recommended them, stuff like that. This one is actually what got me really wanting to start writing and stuff like that. And this is from Brenda Ueland, and I'm in the process of reading it right now. If you want to write, this book was actually published for the first time in the 1930s. 1938. This book came out in 1938, and it's a really fantastic. Excuse me, sir. Can you not walk into my shop, please? This book was recommended by Felicia Day. I was watching her thing, or her old series, The Flog. She doesn't do it anymore, but I was catching up on some of the old episodes I missed, and she recommends this if you're very curious about being creative or writing. And this is a very interesting book. A lot of life lessons in this. It's not actually about how to structure your sentences or how to say this or say that. It's about opening your mind, about your creativity. I would highly recommend checking out this book. It's only like $8 or $9 on Amazon, so definitely recommend this one for sure. All right, so as you guys know, we were talking about Ready Player One because the movie is coming out. I have the book on Audible because I will read. I mean, I already own the book on my iPhone. I can read it on here. I have Audible, so I have it, and of course I wanted Will Wheaton. Of course, I wanted Will Wheaton to read it to me. That's just epic, just purely. But I didn't own a physical copy of it, so I had to go with one of the reprints. This is the New York's bestseller, Ready Player One, with the most iconic artwork out of all of the prints. This was the one I was hoping I could get. It wasn't too bad. It is a very long book, but it is very fantastic. If you guys have not read a book in a while, and you're an 80s kid or a 90s kid, you have to grab this. It goes over all of the pop culture references. It goes over video games. It goes over comics. It goes over movies, and it's insane. I mean, this is all enchanting. Willy Wonka meets the Matrix. I mean, it's freaking perfect. It is a fantastic read, and it's written by Ernest Cline. I highly recommend this book. It is actually my favorite book of all time. The next book I picked up is actually another one from Ernest Cline. This is his second book, Armada. I'm actually not sure what Armada was, but it came in a pack. So I'm very excited to get to read another book by Ernest Cline. He is a very talented author, and he really knows how to portray a good story. And Armada is along the same lines as Ready Player One, so I'm very excited to get to check it out and see what the next book is all about, because I can already tell it says an exciting page turner that mixes Star Wars, The Last Starfighter, Independence Day, and a really gnarly round of Space Invaders into a tasty sci-fi stew, said USA Today. So that just, yeah, I'm very excited to get to check this one out. Okay, so the next one I had to get because I'm getting more into the advanced kind of reading styles and everything like that. So I had to grab the original H.P. Lovecraft, The Call of Cthulhu, or Cthulhu, depending on where you originate and how you pronounce it. But this is a very fascinating book. It's very small, but it is very hard to read. At least for me, there were a lot of big words in there, and big dumb guy, so I learned a lot of new words, but basically it is told from an investigator's perspective over 3 different chapters of stories of the Cthulhu mythos and what happens between the cultists in one part of the world, and then what happens with an artist and a poet in the other parts of the world. And it's all said in the eyes of an investigator, a police investigator who traveled to different places to kind of figure out what was going on, and then eventually opens up to being it ends up being the Awakening of Cthulhu. So a very fantastic read. I actually really enjoyed it, and it was only like a few bucks on Amazon. Definitely recommend this one. Okay, so these next two books are memoirs. These are actually two people that I look up to very highly in terms of writing and scripting and just characterization, sense of stuff like that. So that is Wil Wheaton and Felicia Day. I actually picked up Wil Wheaton's Just a Geek. This is his early memoir, and just kind of him talking about what it's like being a celebrity, or being a celebrity going to somebody that was known for being a celebrity. It just kind of a memoir up until the he talks about his life and just different stuff that's happened, about how he's dealt with everything, and it's going to be a very exciting read. I'm very excited to kind of see how it goes, considering it goes through kind of his Star Trek days, and then what happened after Star Trek, and then his writing days, and then when he started up his blog. So I'm going to be very interested to read this one because I'm a very big fan of Wil Wheaton. All right, this book was actually recommended by Felicia Day and Ernest Cline. It is the memoir of Felicia Day, talking about how she kind of got her start from school all the way up until her current stature with Geek and Sundry. So very excited to kind of see where she got her motivation from and kind of how she dealt with being in school. This one's called You're Never Weird on the Internet, almost. Very excited to read this one. And the last one and final one, because I know you guys are tired of hearing me ramble on about stuff I got, it is this big boy. Speaking of the Guild, this is the one shot, or this is the entire comic collection of the Guild. This is the library collection. This has all of the comic books in single one shots that they continued told the prequel of all the characters for the Guild. It goes through all the characters and their own special thing. You have all the backstory. You have all the backstory on Felicia Day's character Codex, Zabu, Tinkerballa, Vork, Blades, Clara. You have all their backstory. Of course, it goes also into Fox's, who's Wil Wheaton's character, and the Axis of Anarchy's characters, and it's just a lot of really cool fun stuff. I'm only about a third of the way through the entire thing, but it is fantastic. It's so much more backstory on the entire series. This is my favorite web series of all time, so I am very excited to actually own this, considering it is hardback and it is very fantastically written. I'm just very glad I was able to get a hold of this. So if you guys are a fan of the Guild or anything, or looking for something new to read, check this out. It is so worth it. Anyways, guys, that is it for my recent pickups and new collectible shenanigans. I was talking to my buddy Church, who is still the host or he's one of the hosts. I was talking to my buddy Church. If you guys don't know Church, you guys need to check him out. He's in my page. He's the Game Grinder. He was also my co-host when I was part of the Game Tenants podcast. Now it's him and Corpse Flood Gaming that run that. Go say hi to them. Guarantee it's a hell of a podcast. You're gonna love it. But he's a collector, and I told him that I was gonna get back into collecting at some point, and I think I officially have. So this is my ode back into recent collections, or this is my intro back into collecting, and just something kind of fun that I haven't done in a while. I thought you guys would enjoy it, kind of see. If you guys want to talk about any of the stuff I picked up, or you want to have your own stuff that you've picked up and you want to show me, if you guys have anything you want to talk about of anything that I picked up, have a discussion or anything like that, or you guys want to tell me about the recent pickups that you guys got, let me know in the comments below, or hit me up on my social media links, which are down in the description. If you guys are already, please subscribe. I'd love to talk to you guys more, and whenever I post more videos on here. Also, check me out on Twitch. I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as often as I can, just playing random shenanigan games and going on amazing bearded adventures. But anyways, guys, I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace. A memoir of her. Down. Can you see? I'm in the middle of recording. Thank you. Nope, don't hit that button.